Welcome to Local Edition on Time Warner Cable. I'm Steve Swatt with the Sacramento Report. In the next few minutes, we're going to talk about the Republican reaction to Governor Brown's proposed budget and State of the State message. My guest is Brian Maienschein, who is a member of the State Assembly from San Diego. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
So let me ask you, what's the view from the Republican caucus? I mean, there's a lot to like, and as a matter of fact, the head of the Republicans in the Assembly said that Governor Brown was channeling his inner Republicanism.
Well, what I thought was very good about it was Governor Brown talked about having a budget that stayed within its means, and I thought that was important. I think for the first time in several years, we're now seeing the state situation fiscally come into balance more. And Governor Brown talked about having a measured reaction, being reasonable, not spending all this kind of newfound money. And I thought that was really a positive thing to hear.
Of course, that balance is due in large part to Proposition 30 and the influx of $6 billion a year in temporary tax increases that most members in your caucus did not agree with.
Well, I think that's true. I think that part of the budget, the improved budget condition may be because of that, but I also think it's because of a lot of other factors that have probably been years in the making. And I think as we move forward, I think that's what's really critical here. And what the governor outlined, again, was a reasonable, prudent approach, and I liked hearing that.
Reform of the California Environmental Quality Act, I mean, changes there, that's been a Republican issue for going back to probably 1970 when Ronald Reagan signed the bill.
Absolutely, and I think that's a good point to raise, is there was a lot for both Republicans and Democrats and independents to really be happy about in terms of A, the budget, and in terms of B, Governor Brown's State of the State speech. So I think there's some positive kind of energy moving forward that there's a good chance to see some good developments over the course of the next year.
Are you at all concerned about Democratic overreach? Democrats do have 2/3 in each house.
I think any time you have any political party that has over a 2/3 majority, there's that potential. I don't think, just again, and I would say the same thing on the Republican side, is I don't think it would be good for Republicans to have 2/3 because of the potential for overreach. So I think if you look at how our system of government was designed, it wasn't designed for one party rule.
It does seem that there's going to be quite a battle royal coming forward between urban school districts and suburban school districts over the governor's proposed change in education funding.
Yeah, that could happen. I mean, I'm hopeful that we'll see improved situations for schools in both urban and suburban school districts. And I think I understand that there's some who think this is going to be a huge fight, pitting kind of two interests against each other. I'm hopeful that there will be a rising tide that will help both urban and suburban schools.
Okay, I want to talk about one of your very first bills. You're a freshman in the legislature, dealing with youth sports and background checks for those involved in youth sports. Tell us a little bit about the need for this.
Sure. I mean, I'm a youth coach. I coach my daughter's soccer team, and I enjoy doing that. And I certainly know, like anybody else who has kids in sports, we're all concerned about who could be coaching them. And you know, we know from a national story, the Jerry Sandusky story, about these child predators who figure out how to prey on kids. And of course, if you're a child predator, where are you going to look at? You're going to look at youth sports leagues. That's where there's groups of kids and where you can attempt to start preying on these kids. So something that really disturbed me was that you could go and coach youth sports leagues without any sort of background check. And that troubled me. So one of my proposals is that if you coach youth sports, you have to go through a background check to make sure that you're not a child predator, and we can let parents know that their kids are safe when they're involving them in extracurricular activities.
All right. Well, we're out of time, but thank you for coming by and talking about your legislation and also the state of the state. We appreciate it. You're welcome back at any other time.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And thanks to our viewers also for watching Local Edition on Time Warner Cable. One reminder, you can watch this and other interviews on YouTube, also on My Government On Demand. I'm Steve Swatt.